Hello everybody and good afternoon and welcome to this edition of Sports Central. I'm Hank Longo and we've got a great show coming up for you today. Michael Schweim with Central Florida Robotics, Dr. Michelle Henne with Light Up the Night 5K, and from Smoke on the Water, Kevin Ward and Curtis Reddick. So stick around folks, we've got a great show coming up next. Hello everyone and welcome to our first segment of Sports Central. A little flip-flop here. Hank Longo with Neal, Duncan.
Don't adjust your TV.
Don't adjust your TV.
He's running the show today.
Kind of a little switch here. You weren't even planning on being here and got thrown into the
Well, I got so excited hearing that you were hosting, I decided to come in and just let you run the show. But this first segment brought to us by the Hampton Inn in Bartow, a great partner of tourism and sports marketing. But, you know, Hank, it's that time of year. A lot of events have, year-round the events are going on, but as soon as we flip that calendar over, we're off and running.
Isn't it nutty how as soon as, you know, that new year comes, you come from the holidays and everybody getting a little break in the action. But boy, once that new year starts, everybody's off and running. And so how many events have we got for 2019?
Well, last year, 2018, it was 261 sports and special events. And if you include the arts and cultural events that are funded in part through the bed tax, it's over 300 events. So there's no shortage of things to do, but we've got a great event upcoming, and our first guest.
Yeah, where's Dr. Henne's over there? That's what.
Everybody's a doctor today.
Everybody's a doctor today. But anyhow, Michael Schweim from Central Florida Robotics, and tell us all about this great event you've got coming up and what First Lego League is and everything. It's going to be a neat segment of the show.
Well, thank you for having me on.
Great to have you.
So First Lego League is a youth robotics program that serves students ages 9 to 14. First is a large organization, actually, a robotics initiative started by Dean Kamen. You may have heard of him, inventor of the Segway, hip-mounted insulin pump, water purification systems, which led to everybody's favorite Coke Freestyle machines. He started first 30 years ago to raise excitement about robotics and STEM initiatives. And so First Lego League is the one that focuses, like I said, on those students 9 to 14. So at Polk State College on Sunday, February 17th, we're actually hosting 48 of the best teams from Central Florida across the I-4 corridor that are going to come to compete and try and move on to international level events.
This is it's pretty amazing. I've been to one of these events, and to see the robots that these kids make is fascinating, and how they have different tasks, don't they, that they do when they compete in
They
this?
do, absolutely. So, I mean, robot is one aspect, and in that they have, you know, this year, I think 14 different missions that they can try and do. They're programming an autonomous robot to do as many things as possible in a 2.5-minute timed run. So they compete on a 4-foot by 8-foot field, and their robots made completely of Lego parts, including the Lego Mindstorm set, is programmed to go out and try and accomplish as many of these tasks as possible. And what makes this program so great is that they're working collaboratively with other students. And as we know in the adult world that you have differing point of views. So being able to work collaboratively with one another while critically challenging each other and each other's ideas, working toward a common goal, is really a great aspect that this program teaches, is that perseverance and that ability to work together toward that long goal.
Mike, I don't know if you know this about us, but we're kind of selfish. We believe all events and all things belong in Polk County. So what a great partnership to have this event in the backyard of where Legoland Florida Resort is, and all the people that are coming in. Because if you look at this, you know, it's fun. The kids start when they're little with the little Legos, and now you talk about middle school age where they're going back into the Legos maybe if they got away from them. And it's a different component. Talk a little bit about how you see the generations evolve.
Well, it's fantastic because when you see these older kids, it's beyond just building now. Now it's strategizing and programming. So now you're getting students to code and apply that coding into a practical aspect. And it teaches them about sensor usage. It teaches them about conditional coding, and it shows them how you can apply it in a fun atmosphere, but it also leads to actual real-world applications that they can take on into high school and then possibly into career choices such as mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, and even areas that that aren't science-based. You can go into communications, because I mean, we talk about this collaboration effort amongst these students. You're learning about that in this team environment. And beyond that, they also have a project aspect where every year FIRST has a theme. This year is into orbit, so it's a space travel theme, but it changes year to year. So we've had things that have dealt with senior concerns. We've had issues with biomedical engineering and with animals. So every year it changes, so these students don't just learn about programming, it's more than robots. They actually learn about a real world problem and try to come up with innovative solutions that can then help society moving forward.
Okay, that's interesting. You say a real world problem. Give us an example of a problem and how they've tried to solve it.
Well, so this year's theme, Into Orbit, they're dealing with traveling inside our solar system. And we know that traveling beyond the moon is going to take a lot of time. And so you have physical concerns for the astronauts that are going to be doing it. You have social concerns because, of course, the isolation involved with long-term travel. And so they're trying to come up with that. But in other examples, so for instance, in Senior Solutions, which was a theme probably 8 years ago, they were talking about our aging population and problems that they had. And an example that I remember from a team is where a team member's grandmother, who was the epicenter of the family, the thing that she loved to contribute was cooking and being able to gather around. Well, when she lost grip, when she had some arthritis problems, it kind of decreased her impact in the family. And so their solution was to come up with a way to assist her in gripping these pots and these pans and being able to transport it from point A to point B, thus then increasing her ability to interact with the family and increasing her quality of life. And every year, students are tasked with finding these innovative solutions to problems that society faces to try and make our lives better.
I think this competition is so neat because obviously we're on a sports show here, but it's not just, it's not always about stick and ball. This is a competition. Not everyone's blessed to be able to throw a baseball 95 miles an hour or, shoot a three-pointer or whatever it is.
Yeah.
This is a competition, and this is kind of the wheelhouse from some of these students that also has a positive impact on their community. So talk about how you've seen this program grow. Because this has been here a number of years, and the popularity continues to skyrocket.
It does. This is, as many people term it, this is the sport for the mind, where physical limitations are not a barrier in this place. And so we've seen this growth. We've seen teams that, just to give you an idea, in the state of Florida, a decade ago, there were probably 200-ish teams involved in this across the state. That number has ballooned to over 600 this year, and it continues to grow. Just in the Central Florida area where we help, we have nearly 175 teams of youth, anywhere from 2 to 10 members per team, participating in this, and this keeps growing. There are over 250,000 students worldwide that are participating in First LEGO League on an annual basis, and those numbers have climbed every year since its inception in 1998.
More economic impact.
Oh, I'm telling you. How do they find out about this? How do kids join and get involved?
Great question. So First LEGO League is a national, or actually an international organization. They can go to firstlegoleague.org. Locally, you can go to centralfloridarobotics.org, and we have information on our website about how to start a team and steps that you can use in kind of gaining a mindset of how to do this. Robotics is something that all students should have access to, and many times we see that parents or even educators feel that, robotics, this is way too advanced for us to do this. That is absolutely not true. Yeah. There are so many great steps, and the partnership that First LEGO League has with LEGO Education, it really does lend itself to teaching everyone, students of all ages, how to begin coding and go from there.
So this is a regional championship.
Yes, sir,
Polk State College, and the date again was the
Sunday, February 17th.
Is this a qualifier for something else? Or are they going
It is.
somewhere else down the road?
Yes, so actually we will have our highest award winners, our champion award winners, will actually move on, one of which will be competing in Houston at the first World Championships, which will take place in April.
Fantastic.
This is one thing that just amazes me, and I was thinking about this the other day. I made this comment that the inventor of Legos, that originally invented Legos, that this is all sprung from, did he ever have any idea that, you know, you'd have Legoland and these Lego robotic competitions? It's just amazing how this one little invention that this gentleman created has just, you know, exploded into so many different avenues.
Yeah, it has. It's amazing to see that Legos can make such an impact. I mean, I guess what it shows is that there's no one solution to anything. You know, I mean, of course, you get a box of Legos, and if you want to follow the instructions, great, you have your one build. But the great thing about Legos is it's modular. You know, you can change it, you can create whatever you want. And because of that open-ended nature, you know, I think that's what entices students and honestly even adults to come back and to be able to play with it and learn while doing it, because there really is no one solution to any problem.
Oh, it continues to evolve, and it's funny to see here locally in Winter Haven, Legoland Florida Resort. That was one of the things they said coming out of the gate. We're going to continue to evolve because at their core, that's what it is. So really cool stuff, Mike. Thanks so much for coming in, and we look forward to the event on the 17th at Polk State College in Winter Haven. Good stuff. And website, how they can get a hold of you once again?
Yeah, once again, it's centralfloridarobotics.org.
Okay, great. Well, I'm going to try to get there, because it's when you see these kids and the robots that they've made and how they operate them and the teamwork that they, you know, they do in these competitions, it's really something a lot of our society needs to see, because these are the kids that you don't get to see a lot that are doing great things that we really need to showcase. So thank you, Michael. We've got some fun stuff coming up on this next segment. The RP Funding Center, it's the reopen. It used to be the Lakeland Center, now it's the RP Funding Center. Stick around for this segment, and Hank and Neal will be back.
So we are unveiling a new era at the RP Funding Center. With this project, we're able to touch about just every part of our building. That's anywhere from the Jenkins Arena to our public space, which you're in right now, which is great. Sykes Hall, the exhibition hall, all of our meeting space, and Yuki Theater. So we're glad that this project was able to touch every piece of this building. We also want to thank our partners through it all, Polk County, from the county manager to the county commission to Visit Central Florida staff. They've all been here with us side by side. I can't see enough about the support that they provided to help us attain this and future business goals. We really can't do it without the county partnership. So thank you very much. Phase one of the project was kind of just the beginning, and it was our plan changed a little bit because the Magic came on board, which is great. We had LED video boards put in, new sound and lighting. This is all in the arena. A new court and courtside furniture, some of that you're sitting on now. Updated locker room space and shower space. So if you get back there, we'd really love you to see that. That's all open for you to view today. A fire suppression system in the arena. Super important, super expensive, but good. Much needed. Electrical upgrades throughout the building. Again, that obviously was very important. New family restrooms in the arena. New building paint job. I'm sure some of you noticed that about a year ago. And a new office space for the Lakeland Magic. That's just phase one. Phase two is new carpet and paint and wall coverings throughout our convention circulation quarters. That's what it's called, convention circulation quarter. The Sykes and Exhibition Hall got paint and new carpeting to replace which was tile flooring. So when you go throughout, you'll notice you're not going to be able to tap your feet anymore because it's nice and soft. New concourse and meeting room furniture. When you start to walk throughout, you'll see some. First of all, you'll see this great center here for the county is going to be housing. But throughout, you'll see some great new furniture. It's very modern and comfortable.
Time has outgrown what we could accomplish here, and this refresh, built on the second phase just being completed now, built on the first phase that was done last year. We've already seen what Lakeland Magic is able to do with the city, and we're seeing the enthusiasm grow because we're sitting in the entertainment and theater and sports corridor of our city that's going to continue to grow. And we are going to see the Bonnet Springs Park nearby, and what we're going to have happen in this whole arena is going to become very, very exciting for the entire county.
Today, the RP Funding Center continues to provide an influx of events and activities envisioned by all of our predecessors those 44 years ago. As one of the keys to Polk County Tourism and Sports Marketing Big Five investment initiative, the refreshing of this facility was more than attracting our friends and partners, Lakeland Magic. This new facility allows Polk County Tourism and Sports Marketing to be a real player in the very high lucrative meeting and convention market that last year nationwide generated $330 billion in revenue. And I know that's a major task of Tony's to do just that in partnership across the county. This refreshing was a lot more than just new carpet and paint. It's about an investment in our community and preserving a major job creator in Polk County's largest city.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the RP Funding Center. We just had the ribbon cutting ceremony here for the repurposing and renovation of a facility that is absolutely gorgeous. Been able to walk through the arena, the theater, the meeting space. This has been a blessing for Polk County and for the city of Lakeland. With me, to my right, to your left, is Mr. John Oney, Director of Sales for the RP Funding Center. To my left, to your right, is Mr. Chris Keprios. Chris is the Senior Director of Visit Central Florida. That's a mouthful, Chris, but you know, part of your responsibility is going to be filling this facility. That's the return on investment that the $14.2 million that we're looking to receive a return. But it isn't just sports, it isn't just arts and culture. It's meetings and conventions as well.
Yeah, meetings and conventions is obviously a very lucrative market in the tourism world, and it's something we've been able to go after before, but this repurposing here and then the facility in Winter Haven, the Fieldhouse and Conference Center, they're going to enable us to go after markets we've never been able to reach before. Working hand in hand with John Oney and the Lakeland Center, RP Funding Center staff is going to enable us to get after that market and really start bringing more and more events here.
Well, John, you've been working at putting events in already, you know, and a facility like this facelift, I don't know how you did it for $14 million, but it's got to be pumping tens and tens of millions of dollars back into the community. This is awesome.
Yeah, you would think, you know, I certainly didn't spend the $14 million. That was a collaboration with the city of Lakeland and Polk County. So we are very thankful for that relationship. But yeah, for us, it's all about economic impact. It's really about getting out there, getting the exposure we need to draw the visitors, meetings, and conventions to the city of Lakeland, to Polk County, and hopefully use our venue as sort of a platform that spills over into the other attractions, Bach Tower, Safari Wilderness, places like that. So we are extremely proud to be part of this relationship, but we're also excited about the future.
Well, it's a great team. You know, you look at the city of Lakeland, your staff, Tony Delgado, the city manager, Tony Camarillo, the RP Funding Center director. But that cooperation with Polk County Tourism and Sports Marketing has produced huge results in the past, even bigger in the future, I'm assuming.
Yeah, we're looking forward to, hey, we've hung our hat on the past. We know we can do events like this, but the future is bright for Lakeland. There's not a better 1-2 punch than the city of Lakeland, the RP Funding Center. Maybe it's a 1-2-3 punch, and Polk County and Visit Central Florida.
Well, thank you, John. And Chris, you know, I know that you, Al Snow, and so many members of your team have really been targeting some unique markets that you really couldn't go after in the past.
Yeah, that's true. We've always been kind of a niche market for the meetings and conventions segment. Now this allows us to do a lot more to broaden those horizons. John and Al Snow, like you mentioned, from our staff, work hand in hand, are working that market, going to shows and conferences we haven't been able to go to before. Now we have the product to sell, and we're going to go out, sell it, bring in these events, and make that return on investment that John was talking about.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to segment number 2 here on Sports Central. And boy, the RP Funding Center sure has really got a great new look. And
Yeah, I mean, you look at it and what Mark Jackson was talking about, and Chris and John Oney. Of course, he's the head of their sales department now, but the city and the county kind of hand in hand in promoting that venue. And you know, after a while, things get tired and they need a refresh, and certainly
Boy,
did
they've
that.
done a
Not only
wonderful
for the Lakeland
job.
Magic coming in the arena, but hosting larger sporting events in the arena. But you look at the other meeting spaces, bringing in those mid-sized to smaller meeting market into the RP Funding Center, and all the other things, you know, the arts and cultural events they bring in there. So it is a fantastic venue. It looks fantastic, and we are excited about it. Speaking of fantastic venue, now in Lakeland, the third location for Polk County Ovation Bistro Bar and Grill. There's one in Davenport, one in Winter Haven, and now one in Lakeland, and they are this segment sponsor.
well, we want to thank them very much for our special segment with our next guest, Dr. Michelle Henne. And so great to have you on the show. One of my doctors. I'll throw in that little plug right now, but tell us about Light Up the Night 5K.
Absolutely. So I am chair of Light Up the Night 5K. This is a fundraising event for the Junior League of Greater Winter Haven, and we're going to be having our biggest fundraiser of the year in downtown Winter Haven on March 1st.
And so tell us about all the different divisions that people can participate in doing this event.
Absolutely. So we take all comers when it comes to a 5K. We've got walkers, joggers, people with strollers, people in wheelchairs rolling. So we take all comers of all ages.
So there's a senior division for Hank, right?
We go all the way up to 80 years plus.
Oh, good. I still have about 40 years to go.
Oh. In your head. So it's running, jogging, walking, 5K. But I think the neat thing is it's downtown Winter Haven, and what the city has done to that area. So not only is it for a good cause, but the surroundings are pretty neat too.
Absolutely. So one of the coolest things about this is we are actually going to be the first 5K to go through their newly constructed Magnolia Park and South Central Park. These were just constructed this past year, and we're going to be the first ones to get to utilize it.
Well, it's just it's like downtown Winter Haven's like a whole new place with this remodeling or whatever.
Repurposing,
Yeah, however you want to say it. It's just neat to see how many more businesses are moving in downtown Winter Haven, and how all that's developing, and it's really getting to be a great tourist attraction as well. So when we have people visiting from out of town going into downtown Winter Haven, there's so much to do now, which will have a lot of people the people that come to the race will get to be able to see all this as well.
Exactly, exactly. So we are starting right next to the BB&T parking lot, right next to BB&T Bank, and then we'll come right up Magnolia and then get from there straight onto the trails through the parks, and then head up past Lake Silver, turn on around, and come back down.
Wow.
You said it's the largest fundraiser for the group, the Junior League of Winter Haven. Let's talk about them for a few moments, because obviously there's got to be a good support group of the volunteers and the sponsors and all that. Talk about who and what the Junior League is and why you're putting this event on.
So we're a group of women that support the women and children of our community. We have 50 active members. If you include also our sustainers and our provisionals, we have over 150 participants. So that pulls in a lot of volunteers, and we really do need that. When we have an event like this one, we're working with the city police, closing off roads, putting up barricades, and then we need all of those volunteers to come and make sure that we're lighting the way, making sure folks don't get lost, and keeping them on the path. So I couldn't have done it without my great committee. I have a fantastic committee. We've been meeting every week at this point, but we've been meeting quite a bit, and we have a very great event in store.
Well, and I'm sorry, hang
No,
on
go
just to
ahead.
say, 5Ks have become very trendy. In a good way, and people getting off the couch and going and doing it. But food trucks have also become very hot trend. Talk about what that's going to look like at the event.
So yes, so where are we celebrating? Once everyone has finished, however they cross that finish line,
Right.
They're coming in and they want to know where are we having our post-race party. And that's going to be at Grover's Brewery. We do have food trucks that are going to be there. There's going to be trophies, and those trophies are actually created by one of our local schools. So we've partnered
Nice.
with a local school. They've created our designs. They're doing our t-shirts, making our trophies.
Wow.
And those are going to be handed out there.
What do you see? I'm sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead. No, go
I'm
ahead.
intrigued here.
I know.
What do you see as the biggest need? Because you talk about what the Junior League does, and obviously it's for women and for children. What are some of the needs that you see in the community that an event like this helps? Because again, it's not about just going out and running a 5K. At the end of the day, it's supporting. So what are some of those needs that the Junior League is addressing?
Exactly. So in terms of this is our biggest fundraiser of the year. And we function predominantly off of fundraising, more so from fundraising than grants or other donations from the community. So we are very much a self-sustained, self-supported organization. Now, what do we do? In terms of in our community, the biggest things that we're addressing right now is our food, our hunger. So we partnered with Feeding Tampa Bay. We hold at least 4 events a year. We go out into the community and we provide those who need it with food that will last them up to 5 to 7 days. So that occurs at least 4 times a year. Other events that we do is going to be a Kids in the Kitchen. So we work with kids in their after school time period, and we educate them on what's the best eating practices. How are we going to eat well to keep ourselves healthy for now and beyond? And then finally, we're doing educational mini grants, working with the schools, ensuring that those teachers who have certain desires, things like the robots and the Legos and those sorts of initiatives that people want to bring to their school, are able to have the support to do that.
How did this whole group get together? What inspired all of you women to join together for this great cause?
It's a group of women who are interested in volunteerism. So you have every single person who is there, they want to give back to their community, and they want to find a meaningful way to do that.
Yeah, which is very important, because if we don't have enough people giving back, then we don't have these events. But go back to the Kids in the Kitchen, because I think it's a great point, obviously a great program, because one, it's the education about nutrition and not just eating junk after school, but in too many homes we see now that both parents are working, so they might be the only person able to prepare that food for them after school. So how exactly does that work? I mean, obviously safety too, you don't want them to burn the house down, but what does that teaching program look like?
So that looks like members from the Junior League get together in a public location. It sometimes varies, but we get together with those students and we are showing them, most of the time it's not actually baking.
Okay.
We're preparing healthy snacks like ants on a log is one of the ones that we've done. Yeah. It's a celery stick, you put peanut butter on it and raisins, you're hitting all the major food groups more or less. Yeah. And you're showing them how you can make healthy eating fun.
Yeah, doesn't have to be chips.
Doesn't have to be chips, that's right. Chips and soda, we're going to push those aside for the moment.
All that good stuff to eat, you don't get to have anymore. So now how many runners are you expecting to come for this event?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we have been getting larger and larger every year. The last year we had over 300 participants. So we're shooting for always getting bigger, bringing more people. We've had people sign up already coming from Bartow, Kissimmee, Lakeland, Frostproof, Fort Meade, all across the county coming to this event. They want to do a run. They want to do a run at night. That's unique, and it's going to be a ton of fun.
I mean, so it's a fun run. There's no qualifying for anything. This is just, these people are coming from all around just because they're going to get to run at night, and it's a great event to be able to participate in. Just a fun thing to do. No one's going to the national championship 5K at night or anything, just coming to enjoy downtown Winter Haven and a good time.
That's exactly right. And for those folks that maybe created New Year's resolutions, they want to get moving this year, they want to be the best self that they can be, this is a great opportunity for them to be able to get in there, you set a goal, you work to make that goal.
And again, we're talking about Light Up the Night 5K, Friday, March 1st at 7 p.m., correct? And that's in downtown Winter Haven. Registration before the 14th of February is $25. After that, it goes to $30. Under 18 is only $15, and seniors, $15, right?
Hey, well, you keep bringing up the senior thing, which is, I understand that, but the most important thing is I'm still alive.
Oh.
That's
What
what's
is the
so
age
important.
range for seniors? What is
Still
what is
so
that age?
vibrant.
Yeah, so we break it down in 5-year increments.
Okay.
So it starts at the 5s and the 10s. So 65,
You know you're
70,
setting him up. You know you're
75,
helping to
80,
set him up for this.
and up.
Okay.
There's a division for everyone.
There's a division for everyone.
Michelle, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And a website if they want to find out more information?
Absolutely. So they can reach us at jlgwh, it's a mouthful, .org, or at active.com is where you register. And then on Facebook, you can find the information, the event page, all of that sort of information.
And of course, if you forgot all that, go to centralfloridasports.com and we'll help them get there. But great event.
Yeah, and I got to just say, if you have not been to the new revitalized downtown Winter Haven, come enjoying this event, especially at Grove Roots. That whole area has just blossomed, and Grove Roots has a great outside area where the food trucks will be, and it'll be a fun night for everybody after this event. So check it out. Well, folks, we're going to go to the Alafia River Rendezvous. It was January 16th through the 27th, and visitors are going to get to demonstrate how old Florida really got together and how all those things worked way back in the day. So enjoy this video, and Hank and Neal will be back right after that.
About early American history, and the motto of this rendezvous is bridging the gap to our ancestors, because we need to learn from our past and appreciate those who built the United States of America from the ground up. We would like to dress up in the personas and the clothing that they would have worn, so that that's basically the living history part of it, doing the things that they would have done, so that we have not only a knowledge of what they've done, but also a good understanding and a feel for how they would have felt in doing the activities that we do.
This is the caber toss. Oh!
We have a full docket of activities for the participants, who are the people who are camping here in the tents. We have things, children's games, women's games. Currently today is Tuesday, and we're having Highland games. We have a full range of activities of competitions, muzzleloading firearm, shooting, paper targets, woods walk, and we have archery competition going on currently right now. We also have knife and hawk throwing, just the same traditions that the early mountain men, when they got together and started bragging rights about who's the better shot, or who can throw a tomahawk better or a knife, and their archery skills with the Indians. So we're basically portraying the early American life on pre-1840, which was the last year of the Mountain Man Rendezvous.
This is my wife's shawl, and it's beaded all the way up through here. And this is actually a replica from a museum out west. I forgot which museum.
This is an English yew bow, and traditionally a lot of the woodsmen would carry their bows with them along with their rifles, because they didn't, if they could take the shot with an arrow, they wouldn't have to waste the lead of the bullet.
This is a stove that was quite common all the way in Europe into colonial America.
They build a fire in there and get it hot, and then you can bake in it like you would at home, just like a regular oven. And it holds the heat for a long time. The clay that came from here was from this property also. If you notice over here, this is my pride and joy. I've been working on that. A buddy and I bought this back. It's called a Nissan wagon. Actually, we got this in Georgia, but they were made in Raleigh, North Carolina up until the 20s. Now, a lot of people have said that these were shaped like a boat so they go across the river. They weren't. They were built this way because it keeps the load centered, the gravity centered on the load. They all had a toolbox. And if you notice, when you come around to the back, you'll see a feed box that comes off so you can feed the horses. When Benjamin Franklin helped organize the wagons for Reddick, they were required to put their name of the farmer who owned that wagon on there. And they were also required to take a sickle with them. Why would you need a sickle? You got to feed the horses, so they'd have to go out and cut the grass to feed the horses and stuff at night.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to our third segment of Sports Central. Hank Longo along with Neal, Duncan. And, you know, it was really interesting as we were talking during that video how you have won that night 5K like, what, 3 or 4 times now? But you finally got to put an end to it because they caught you hiding around the corner. You take off, and then you just hide.
It's one of the advantages of a nighttime race. They can't see you. This third segment brought to us by the Hampton Inn in Winter Haven, where you might be recovering after you win the senior division of the Light Up the Night 5K.
Hey, it'll be fun. Hey, great third segment. Coming up, one of our best events of the year here in Polk County, and that is Smoke on the Water barbecue competition. And joining us, Kevin Ward and Curtis Reddick. Great to have you guys on the show. And Kevin, I've been a little busy these last few weeks. Kevin, who really kind of heads up this whole event and is the chief organizer, just a ton of hours you put into this, but it's going to be a great new show this year, 15th anniversary.
It's going to be a new show, and thank you for having us on here today. It is the 15th year. It started back in 2004 with a group of guys sitting around trying to decide how to raise some money for the Boys and Girls Club. And Curtis here has been involved in it since the very beginning. So.
And Curtis, the executive director of the Boys and Girls Club, the Citrus Center Boys and Girls Club.
Yes, sir. Again, it's a great event. Guys like this guy who chairs this event in the committee volunteers so many hours and put in so much dedication to pull this thing off. And of course, you.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, it's, you know, I got involved because I just saw so many of my friends that were involved with Kevin and Frank and Grant, and I go, you know what? This is something you need to get involved in because I think we all need to give back to our community. And if we can help in any way to help these kids, which I saw, and I'm very involved with youth education, that, you know, you need to do something. And ever since I've been a part of it, I've just been amazed by all the community support that this event gets, and we'll try to show you some of that. But so many people step up to the plate to make this happen, because you got to realize there's 10, 15,000 people that are going to show up there over those 2 days, you know, Friday night and Saturday, and it takes a lot of folks to be able to manage all that, and just all the businesses in the community that donate money to make this happen is why, you know, 15 years later it's still going strong.
Well, I think it's important to maybe set the stage for that, if you will. We'll talk about the event in a second, but talk about what the Boys and Girls Club is doing, so people absolutely want to go support this event because they're doing such great work. Talk about that.
Well, I always like to say that the most important thing we do is keep kids safe. But past that, I think our biggest role is to help make better kids. For those kids who don't get maybe what they need at home at times, to help try to put them in a place where they can be productive, caring citizens in not just this community, but wherever they live. So, and I think that's our biggest mission, aside of keeping them safe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and give them some good lessons on how to be a good citizen, you know, and that they've got to do their homework. The one thing that I think is important to note too is that this isn't a babysitting program where you just drop your kid off and you've got to watch them. They have to do homework. They have to get involved in doing things. They're just not coming there to play for the time that they're there. They're actually getting an education as well. And I think that's incredibly important.
Well, and our staff does a great job of making sure our kids get extra help with their homework, with tutoring. All three locations do a wonderful job of us adding something to the academic portion of the program. So yes, you're absolutely right.
Well, kids are certainly important. And getting back to the event, there's a Friday night kind of kickoff party, and then the event itself on February 2nd on Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6. But let's go through it. What does Friday night look like? Who's invited to that, and what's Saturday look like?
So Friday night, this will be the third year in a row that we've opened it to the public at 6 o'clock. Originally, it was just for the sponsors. Mm-hmm. So the sponsors will come in, and we'll have a special area for them because they are, you know, funding the club, and this event helps us, you know, say thank you to them, and we have a really good dinner for them to have, and there's going to be Duke Burr and T. Michael doing their show during the dinner, and then afterwards we're going to have the 1969 band, and they're going to be playing on the main stage, which I'd like to talk about because the main stage this year is not going to be inside the tent like it has been in the past. It's going to be outside, and it's a pretty big deal, and I don't know if we can see that or not, but the stage is going to look like this year.
It's a big venue.
It's going to make the whole venue feel different, and we're thinking it's going to be the next big thing for us.
The event taking the next level
step, yes. Yeah. Then Saturday morning, we're going to have the event open at 10 a.m. and we've got bands starting, and they'll be playing throughout the day, various bands. And then the barbecue competition will be, the award ceremony will be at 6 o'clock, and it'll be on the main stage. So during the day, obviously, we're going to have barbecue for people to try, and there's plenty of beer to drink and soda if you want. It is sponsored by Budweiser and Publix, so you know you're going to have both.
Here's what I don't understand. Why everyone in Polk County is not there, because you have two staples, food and music, and then the third is it benefits kids. I mean, there's no reason not to go to this event.
Right. It's going to be a really good one this year. We're looking forward to it.
Well, you know, and there's more than just barbecue there too, though, because the vendors that are there that are vendors and competing, they make all kinds of specialty foods as well that you can enjoy. So it's just not that you have to have barbecue while you're there. And to top it all off, one of my favorite things is the ski show.
Cypress Gardens Water Ski Show is going to be there. They're going to be at 12 and 2 o'clock, and they run for it's about a 45-minute long show, and it's really good.
Yeah, they do a great job. If you haven't been to Silver Lake and Central Park in downtown Winter Haven, every third Saturday of the month, they put on a free show for everybody to come see. So they're a very well-polished ski team, some of the best show skiers in the world that skied for Cypress Gardens, Mark Voisard and company that have, you know, put this ski team together. When they bring a show, it's a great water ski show, and just adds to all the fun and the music that goes on at this event.
We don't want to forget about the fireworks at 10 o'clock on Friday night, and it's going to be a good one. It's out on the lake, so we hope everybody comes out to see that.
Are you still taking on any sponsors? And the reason I ask that are contributors, because, you know, Sam Baker, one of our producers, puts together a good information sheet here. And the thing that jumped off the sheet at me is 100% of funds raised go to the Boys and Girls Club. So obviously a lot of expenses to make sure that that statement is true. A lot of sponsors needed. So I know you mentioned Budweiser and Publix. Are you still taking contributions towards that?
We are. We'll take them up to the last minute. The only cutoff we really have is if you want to get your logo as a company on the banner that's going to go around the stage. And another nice thing about this big stage this year is there's about 750 square feet of banner around it. So if you want to be a sponsor, we'll get you on the banner next year.
Yeah.
This year's.
It takes a little while to put together.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, as we were talking, Kevin, this goes back for 15 years. Who are some of the other people that we need to be thanking that have done so much to make this happen?
Well, I don't know exactly who all was at that meeting, but the primary people would have been Rob Krieger and Frank Schmoes, Rick Smith, Jimmy Rabe, Kerry Wilson, Walt Hall. I don't know who all else was there. Were you there at that meeting?
Yeah, I was at the meeting. You mentioned the key players in
but even now too, you know, then and now.
Yeah, and again, I have to give a special shout out to Rob Krieger because he just literally took this thing and made it happen. And you know, of course, he passed away years ago, but we still remember and honor him. And this event would not be possible had he not had the vision.
And Kelly involved very much.
Yep, Kelly, his daughter.
Yep.
That's one of the things that makes Polk County so special, whether it's Winter Haven or Bartow or Haines City or Frostproof. There's so many of these events like this. You should never be looking for something to do in Polk County because there's always something and it's always going towards a charity or towards a good cause. So I'm looking forward to the event. Again, Friday night, February 1st, 6 p.m., open to the public.
Open to the public.
And it's Saturday on the 2nd from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., but going back to Friday night, 10 o'clock fireworks, correct?
10 o'clock fireworks. So Friday night or Friday, it's a $10 donation. Saturday, it's a $1 donation. So when you come on Friday night, we're going to have bands and the fireworks, and it's really cool at night to come out to Smoke on the Water because the smoke is in the air and it's all lit up and we got colored lights and
there's bonfires going and there's music down by the lake.
And that brings up another thing. Jane Waters is putting on quite a show for the kids. We need to mention that. She's got a bike riding contest. She's got a karaoke contest. She's got a clogging contest. I think the karaoke contest has a $500 purse. What else? She's got so much stuff going on over there.
Just a bunch of good stuff for kids to do.
I'm looking forward to just seeing because she always brings cool stuff every time.
Yeah, she does a great job handling that kids area, and I think this is like the biggest kaboom that we've had with the kids area, with the clogging and the karaoke and all the different things that she's putting together. Just adds to making it a great event.
I saw the kids clogging a couple of years ago, and I just happened to be walking by. I didn't even realize that she was doing it, and it just took me by surprise.
Amazing.
I mean, here's this 20 kids, and they're just tearing it up, and it was awesome.
Well, it's a great, you know, the thing that I love about Smoke on the Water is just all the friends that I run into. It's like a yearly gathering, and you'll see folks that you haven't seen for years that come, and so come join us. It's a wonderful event, and Curtis, all your hard work, and Kevin, can't thank you enough for all that you do and all the folks that have been involved, and just what a good thing the Citrus Center Boys and Girls Club is for the kids in our community. And like you say, you're keeping them safe and teaching them to be good citizens and hopefully great adults that will see, like, you know, just off the top of my head, Andre Berto, world boxing champion, you know, went to the Boys and Girls Club. So, and I'm sure there's story after story about the successful kids that have come out of that. And thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Big event coming up. Can't wait to February 1st and 2nd. Is that right? Okay.
Yep.
Well, folks, we have some more great footage for you. It's our Athlete Spotlight. And this one's a little different because it's an athlete from the Senior Games. Laurie Schoepe is a weightlifter in the Senior Games. Check this out. She is the winner of the Senior Games, Laurie Schoepe. And we'll be back after this break.
When I was young growing up, there were no sports for girls and women at that time. I think I was in high school when Title IX came out, and then after that in college, I mostly just ran and worked out a little bit. I used to compete mountain biking, and but I knew that if I lifted weights, it would be better. So as far as the weightlifting, I didn't start that until I was over 50 for the senior games. I wanted to be strong. I wanted to, I don't know, lift heavy weights, I guess. There were enough women in it. You know, the guys were almost secretive. It was like a secret club when I remember the gym that I started out in. And the women that were lifting they were dedicated as well. They had great physiques, things like that, you know, so it's like, I just wanted to be part of that, to be stronger. Senior Games only has deadlift and bench, so that's mostly what I've been focusing on for the last 4 months. Now if you go to, I think if you go to state, they have a squat as well, a back squat, but right now it's just been bench and deadlift. You know, everybody goes one at a time in weightlifting, and you're in there in your own category by height and weight. And so a lot of times, since I'm like so tall and thin, I don't get a lot of people in my category with me. But sometimes I do, and it's just you have to go in and do your best effort. It's nerve-wracking because you're just going by yourself and everyone's sitting there like watching you. So that I have to pretend those people aren't there and do, you know, block them all out. I would love to do over 100 for a bench, and for a deadlift, 195. We'll see. We'll see. Yesterday was an off day, so I went hiking a charter road with a weighted pack on. A lot of my cardio. I ran the Twilight race the other night, and I did really well because I hadn't trained in a while for running. I got a 35:05. I'm like, well, that's cool. And I'll mountain bike, and I'll smoke people left and right on mountain biking. So yeah, it really is hard for me to sit around on any given day to do nothing. Like, I hate getting injured because you got to sit and you got to recover, and that just isn't in my vocabulary, I guess. So I'm always doing something. Like when I was a kid, my mom said as soon as I could walk, I was just taking off running away. So I guess that has stayed. You can't let your age determine your level of movement and ability, and you got to put those fears aside. Just like competing, you got to put fears aside and do it. You have to probably explore with different gyms and coaches what you really want to do, and then have them work with you. I mean, people go to some of the other gyms and just go in there and do, you know, mechanical, like hamster on a treadmill type thing, and don't get any better, don't lose any weight. So you have to, it's more than just going to the gym, you know, it has to be focused.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to our fourth segment here on Sports Central. Hank Longo along with Neal, Duncan, and it's kind of been fun. We did a flip-flop here today, and it's been kind of fun.
You've done a great job, Hank.
Thank you.
As
Neal.
always.
I'm glad you
Speaking
took
of
it.
doing a great job, the Lakeland Magic are doing a great job on the basketball court right now, and they're sponsoring this segment. But talking about them, they started slow. Well, I think they were 1-7 in their first 8 games or something like that. But since then, they're 17 or 18-10 now. They're first in their division, second place in the Eastern Conference. And what that means is, last year, remember their first season playing at the RP Funding Center, first season in Lakeland, they made the playoffs, but had to play a road game, and they lost that first playoff game. But but if they end up first in their division, they get a home playoff game. So playoff basketball may be coming to the RP Funding Center.
Well, I had a friend that I had breakfast with the other morning say that he and his wife were at one of the basketball games the other night and just said it was phenomenal just to be up that close and see these great professional basketball players.
Yeah, exactly right. It's professional basketball right here.
It doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah, so upcoming games, they got January 25th, 7 o'clock. They got a game, and then, is that today? That's actually today. February 5th, they'll be taking on the Maine Red Claws at 7 p.m., and then Friday, February 8th, against the Erie Bayhawks, which Erie is actually who they used to be.
Oh, wow.
So when they moved the team from there, they were in Erie, and they came to Lakeland. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
Full of information.
But, and I'm going to hear. We're going to get some more out of Neal with this next question when we have indoor soccer to talk about. Tell us a little bit about how great that sport has become.
Yeah. So the Florida Tropics, they're the indoor team. The Lakeland Tropics are the outdoor team at Bryant Stadium. But the Florida Tropics, it's been a little more difficult season than they had last year. Some injuries have played a role, and some players moving on. They're not performing at the level that they're expecting. But that happens in sports. We certainly know that. But it still is family-friendly, exciting action. If you're used to like World Cup or things like that, where it's 1-0, or that's not this. They score a lot, and their next game is actually on tomorrow against the St. Louis Ambush. That's at 7:05, and then their next home game at the RP Funding Center is Saturday, February 16th against the Orlando Seawolves. So pretty cool stuff there going on at the newly renovated RP Funding Center.
RP Funding Center. Yeah. And senior softball, another great big tournament. We have softball all over the county all winter long. Probably one of the best softball facilities county-wise in the United States. And big USA Tournament champions coming up.
Yeah, so senior softball tournament champions is February 8th through the 10th. Multiple facilities in Polk County, but this is some of the best senior softball teams in the nation. You have to have won an event somewhere else in the country, and in some cases internationally, to come into this event. I don't even know how many years. It's probably been, I don't know, 10 plus years now that this event's been going on. Yeah. It's only ever been held in Polk County. It's a fantastic event, and if you want to look at an event that's just really marquee for that economic impact, good relationships, good partnerships, renewing, keeping that event coming back, this certainly is right up there.
One of those events. I'm going to try to make it to this event. Whether I'll be able to or not, I don't know. But February 8th at Lake Eva Park is the Scripps Central Florida Spelling Bee. And I am just in such awe when I watch these spelling bees on TV. These kids that get thrown these very difficult words, and they'll go, what's the origin of that word? And it just amazes me that there's so much. There's so much into understanding how you spell a word, and even
I missed all those lessons.
And so that's coming up, like I said, at Lake Eva, and February 8th. So it might be a fun thing. We're going to do a live show from there, actually. So that'll be a lot of fun.
This show will be live from there on February 8th, and then after that, PGTV and their great crew will actually record the entire spelling bee, and it will re-air later date on PGTV, so you want to check the listings for that. But the neat thing about that event is the winner goes on to Washington, D.C. for the national championship, and by hosting the event, Visit Central Florida is on that winner's placard that goes around their neck or whatever. So great advertising. Running short on time, but we want to remind everybody that the Russ Map Baseball Central Florida Collegiate Invitational will be back. Last year, over 250 teams, college spring training right here in Polk County, Lake Myrtle Sports Park, as well as Channel Lakes, and then on some weeks they're at local high schools and universities. Plus, the Detroit Tigers are coming back. 83rd spring training. Like, do you remember that first year? 83rd year that they'll be in Lakeland, but we're looking forward to that. Some of the sponsors we want to thank: Abuelos, BSN Sports, People's Barbecue, Days Inn, and Harry's Seafood Bar and Grill.
Well, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. And if you want to find out more about what's going on, you can go to www.centralfloridasports.com. Our next show is going to be Friday, February 8th. And you can always give us a call at 551-4750 for Hank and Neal. We'll see you again. In just a minute or two, we'll be gone. Just when I thought I was going, I'm back alive again. So
we want to remind everybody to check out the radio version of Sports Central on Talk 96.7 and Talk 1430 WLKF every Tuesday morning from 7 to 8 a.m. and every Thursday from 5 to 6 p.m. And we had the opportunity yesterday to have Chris Sale, of course, from Lakeland, a great pitcher. He was on the program talking about an event that he's going to be at this weekend, but future probably member of the Hall of Fame, not only in Polk County but in Cooperstown. But great stuff. But you definitely want to check out Talk 1430 and Talk 96.7 Tuesdays and Thursdays.
For Hank and Neal, we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.